All right, welcome to the day one of the Survive to Thrive in 2025 challenge. Now, our first day here, we really want to talk about building physical foundation. Now, the reason for that is this: we all have what we would call a window of tolerance. So, I want you to think about functioning inside of these two lines right here. We have a window of tolerance, and it's what allows us to deal with stress in our life. And so, we're dealing with stress, we're dealing with stress, we're dealing with stress, we're inside of our little window until we're not. And when we leave that window of tolerance, it doesn't feel very good. It creates some anxiety. And if we don't deal with it well, it feels even worse when we shoot down to the other side of that window of tolerance, because that's what feels like depression and disengagement and hopelessness, because we just give up. Our objective to move in this from survival to thriving mode in 2025 is to expand your window of tolerance that allows you to be among the chaos of your life and not consumed by it. We can't always change the chaos that we experience in our life. Life is going to come. We've all got busy lives. Maybe you have children, maybe you have businesses, maybe you just have a lot going on. And we can't stop that and then say, oh, well, I will feel better when. No, it's time to feel better now. You can thrive regardless of the circumstances of your life right now if you'll take this challenge and go for it. So day one is a physical foundation. And people often ask me, why do you start with the physical when it's the emotional side that I'm feeling so weighed down by? And it's because our physical, emotional bodies, they're connected. They're inseparably connected. You don't have a spiritual, emotional self wandering around somewhere and then your physical self wandering around somewhere. We are inseparably connected. And the reality is this physical body of ours is a huge part of what plays into our mental and emotional health. This is why there's things like hangry and tangry. So I don't feel well if I'm hungry, and I don't feel well if I haven't slept, and I don't feel well if I've been trapped inside all day long, and I don't feel well if I haven't eaten, and I don't feel well if I haven't moved. The feeling, the emotional side is super real. So in order to actually move the needle and start to thrive in our own life, we got to do a little check-in. And we're going to check in on 6 foundational physical principles. And the first one, and the most important one, is sleep. Now, it is foundational because our brains reset in the night. We need sleep. And so for you, I want you to become aware of your sleep. Now, what that looks like is, are you consistently going to bed or consistently getting up at a set time? And by set time, I don't mean like 11 p.m. every night. We are busy, busy people. We're moms, we're women, we're wives, we're men, we're running businesses. We have things. And a set bedtime might not be exactly what we're looking for, but it's consistency we're looking for. So can you start to keep track of and become aware of what time you go to bed and what time you wake up? And what we're looking for is to find consistency in a pattern that's within 30 minutes of either side of what we set. So if I set that I want to go to bed around 11 and I want to get up around 6, then if that's my set time, then I want to be in bed between 10:30 and 11:30, and I want to be up as close to that 6 o'clock mark as I can, right? 30 minutes on either side of that to be really successful. We want to find consistency in the patterns. We also find consistency in looking at those sleep patterns and figuring out how much sleep that we're getting. And right now, it's just about becoming aware. And if you can recognize some consistency in those sleep patterns, that awareness will actually lead you to what feels good for you. We don't always need the amount of sleep everybody has proclaimed we need. And so becoming aware of what your sleep patterns are, getting consistency in time to bed and time to wake up, and recognizing that you're going to get into between that 6 to 7.5 hours of sleep range is going to be super, super important for you. Another little sleep tip I'm going to throw out there is two little sleep tips for you. One, we sleep in cycles that are 90 minutes long. If you're struggling to find a rhythm and you just feel tired every time you wake up, I want you to calculate some sleep cycles for yourself, 90 minutes at a time. And I want you to just calculate, if I were doing 90-minute cycles, the first cycle takes about 105 to 110 minutes because it takes us a little longer to get into sleep. Calculate, get 3 or 4 of those sleep cycles in and see if that helps you feel more rested. If when you wake up you don't feel totally rested, then try some NSDR, some non-sleep deep rest. That's a really powerful way to rest during the day. But sleep, foundational principle number 1. The second one is going to be sunlight. Each one of us needs to engage in sunlight intentionally. We tend not to. We tend to be in our house and stuck inside, and maybe we see the sun when we're going to the grocery store or walking. I want you to intentionally go outside in the morning sunlight and intentionally go outside in the afternoon sunlight, even if it's just for a couple of minutes. Find an opportunity to capture intentional sunlight in your life. The way our eyes process light is critically important for us to have that sunlight hitting us at different times of the day. It's actually going to wake up your mind, and it's like photonic energy, some of the most important energy we can get. The next one is going to be hydration, and this just isn't about water. Yes, you need to be consuming we've all heard it, 6 to 8 cups of water a day, glasses of water a day. Water is important, but the solubility of our brain and that fluid that's in our brain isn't just water. We are an electrical being, right? We're passing protons and electrons all through our body. So we need electricity, soluble things, right? We need conductivity, and that comes from electrolytes. So if you haven't had electrolytes before, I want you to intentionally engage with them. There's some really good ones out there. My Body Armor has a great little pouch that you can just pour in some water. Relight is a great supplement. If you don't like the salty taste of electrolytes, you can just take the pill. Or even LMNT is a great little drink pouch you can use. These are electrolyte supplements that are incredibly helpful for you. Then we move into micronutrients, which is going to be your fruits and vegetables. Now, the reality is the way that our fruits and vegetables are grown these days, they don't have the nutrients that we need in them. And so we need to supplement usually our micronutrients. And so I'm going to encourage you to try this. Get some cold pressed greens or some packet greens. And what that would look like, there's a couple brands out there like Evolution or Suja that have cold pressed greens. And those are going to be at your Good Earth or your Target. They're at a lot of grocery stores. Or you can look in those green sections. There's also a green packet that's called AG1 that we like that gives you some good greens as well. I want you to see what it looks like and feels like and become aware of how much different you feel when you consume micronutrients on purpose. They lay a foundation that allows your body to have the absorption of the macronutrients or the proteins that we're going to put in. Now we know macros is kind of a buzzword, right? And a lot of people like to talk about it as carbs and proteins and fats. For right now, we're just going to focus on proteins. So many people right now feel like they get a lot of protein. Oh yeah, I eat protein for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Then when we actually start to count the grams of proteins we're getting, most people are averaging 40 to 50 grams of protein a day when you need over 100 grams. And the reality of that situation is the lack of those proteins, which are the foundational building block of your body, are leaving you without enough energy to get through your day. And so when we're really intentional in our micronutrients, creating a foundation where our body can really take in the macronutrients, and then we're really intentional about how many proteins we eat, oh man, the energy that you're about to feel is substantially different. And then movement. I want you to be intentional about movement. Become aware of how much you move or don't move. And I'm not talking about exercise for exercise's sake. I'm just talking about moving. I'm talking about getting up and going for a walk. I'm talking about intentionally parking at a parking spot that's further away than the other ones and giving your body an opportunity to move throughout the day. How much movement are you getting and how much are you not? If you will go through this really simple awareness exercise of sleep, sunlight, hydration, micronutrients, macronutrients, and movement, and become aware of where you're at, and then just start to make simple little adjustments. Find a consistent timing on your sleep. Start to take in some sunlight at least one more time a day than you currently are. Just go outside in the morning, for example, if you're not doing that right now. For hydration, take in some level of electrolytes. Just try it throughout your day. Take in some level of greens throughout your day on those micronutrients. Intentionally consume a little bit more protein each day, and then intentionally move a little bit more each day. This entire exercise could take you 5 to 10 more minutes a day than you're spending now. It's the intention behind it. And what will happen is your physical body will truly feel the capacity to level up. It will feel like there's an opportunity now for you to bring more to the table, to do a little bit more, to be a little bit more, so you can have a little bit more. And that's what it's going to take to thrive in 2025.